For the first time, I think we have partial confirmation that Eritrea is buying weapons from abroad. We have been seeing reports of cargo flights landing in Eritrea. We uh, shared with you reports too, but the evidence which should be convincing for everyone, that type of evidence was missing. Now what is happening now, what has happened in the last 1 week, is indicative of a pattern showing procurement of weapons by Eritrea. From which countries? Which types of weapons are being purchased? Secondly, Ethiopian government is not happy with international news outlets which are reporting about the situation in the Amhara region, where Ethiopian military is facing some setbacks. That is why Ethiopian government it is taking action on foreign news outlets. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for watching. Firstly, why did Ethiopian government revoke the license of DW Ethiopia? DW is Deutsche Welle, a German news outlet. Its 9 correspondents have been banned from working in Ethiopia. Their licenses have been revoked. Deutsche Welle won't be able to operate in Ethiopia. What happened? According to the Ethiopian government, Deutsche Welle has been involved in a violation of ethics of journalism and violations of Ethiopian constitution. That a few months ago, Voice of America closed its operations in Ethiopia. International news outlets which have been delivering news in local languages, they are gradually being closed. By the way, these local language services of DW, Deutsche Welle, BBC, Voice of America, they have never been neutral and impartial. Why? Because they rely on reports of local correspondents. Local correspondents have their heavy inclination towards the parties to the conflict in Ethiopia. That is why several reports of VOA, DW, and BBC local languages have been very controversial. Still, at least they were sharing something better than local news outlets which are heavily biased. Why did the Ethiopian government ban DW, Deutsche Welle? Well, Deutsche Welle has been banned because of its reports about the situation in the Amhara region. 4 to 5 days ago, Deutsche Welle exposed the defeat suffered by the Ethiopian military in an operation launched to take back areas in Raya Kobo. I had a video on that. If you remember, the military tried to retake Moja and Kolmask. It wanted to open the road from Iyub towards Lalibela, but military failed. Deutsche Welle published a report about it. Ethiopian government does not want international news outlets to cover the situation in the Amhara region, where military is suffering setbacks. The scenes coming out of Amhara are embarrassing for the Ethiopian government. Soldiers being taken prisoner, soldiers being handed over as POWs to the Red Cross, and the military suffering setbacks. That is why Ethiopian government has banned Deutsche Welle from operating in the country. Secondly, Eritrea is definitely buying weapons now. Confirmed because flights have been tracked which are under sanctions, which have been involved in provision of weapons to several countries. I mentioned some of these flights in the past too, in past videos. Back then, perhaps smoking gun type of evidence was missing. Now, a flight has been tracked in arriving in Eritrea. The flight has been involved in provision of weapons to several countries. It's under sanctions. It's under sanctions by OFAC. The plane used for this flight is linked to IRGC, Iranian Revolutionary Guards Corps. IRGC linked Faras Air Qasim flight has been tracked. It landed on Massawa Airport on the 19th of October. What was this flight carrying? This flight was tracked on the 19th of October this month, but several other flights have also been tracked since July. Flights have been tracked involving military cargo planes, IL-76 and C-130H. All these flights landed at Massawa. So Massawa seems to be the center of Eritrean military preparations for war, offensive or defensive. The flight of IRGC-linked Faras Air Qasim indicates that Eritrea is buying weapons from Iran. Eritrea has been traditionally using Russian weaponry. Su-27, MiG-29, their artillery pieces, all their equipment, majority of it is Russian, ex-Soviet Union. Same is the case with Ethiopia. Ethiopia has also been relying on Russian weaponry. But Middle East is now a major supplier of weapons. In Africa, Middle Eastern countries are weapon suppliers. That is why they are interfering in Africa. Because now they want to find customers to sell their weapons. By the way, these Middle Eastern countries, they are not anyone's friends. They just want to protect their interests in Africa. Iran, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Turkey, all of them want to achieve their goals. They want to protect their economic interests. But they use different cards. Sometimes they use Muslim card. Sometimes they use other cards just to find potential customers in Africa. In Sudan, Turkey is supplying drones to Al Burhan. In Ethiopia, Turkey is supplying drones to Ethiopian PM. Ethiopian PM government is supporting RSF, not Al Burhan. So Turkey is selling weapons to both parties. To Ethiopia, which supports RSF, and to Al Burhan, which is fighting RSF. So what matters for Turkey is the sale of its weapons. It wants to make money. Iran is not in good relations with Ethiopia. Ethiopian government, I think, is close to Israel than to Iran. So it means that Iran could be a natural ally or a provider of weapons to the Eritrean government. That is why Eritrea is buying weapons from Iran. And we have seen some high-level meetings between Iranian and Eritrean ministers in recent months. Iran's Shaheed kamikaze drones are very formidable drones. People say shooting down this drone is costlier than manufacturing of this drone. It's a kamikaze drone. Several countries have been buying it. Russians bought Shaheed too. Eritrea has been interested in buying Shaheed kamikaze reportedly. Eritrea has been working with the Sudanese government to develop jointly manufacture Safarog, Sudanese local drones, which are again very effective. So the flight of Faras Air Qasim Airline is definitely linked to provision of Iranian arms, maybe drones to the Eritrean government. Eritrea, it is said, wants to develop indigenous drone manufacturing program. It wants technology transfer. It does not want just to buy. It wants to manufacture drones. That is why it is in contact with Iran, with Sudan. These two countries can help Eritrea to some extent. Egypt too. Egypt is not known for developing high-class combat drones. Egypt bought TB2s from Turkey and from UAE too. I think Egypt bought some drones. Iran is a better provider of drones to Eritrea than Egypt is. That is why these flights have been tracked. It's very unfortunate, by the way, to see that these Ethiopian Eritrean governments are spending so much on weapon procurement. The people are dying of hunger. They're fleeing their country to find employment abroad, and they're buying weapons. This is what happens when there is no peace, no stability. Thank you for watching.